My name is Julien Bourgeois, and I'm the CEO at Ball AI.
Hey, Julian, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. I'm excited to hear your story. I know you've got a good one. Let's just jump right in, get started. Tell me what first sparked Ball AI and how the whole idea came to form.
Yeah, thanks, Amber, so much for having me. Really, it started all the way back when I was in high school, maybe even late middle school. I was always a super smart kid, really good at math and science, wanted to go to like a super nerdy college or school. And I started playing basketball, started JV, then worked my way up to varsity. And every day I'd go outside in my driveway and I'd take thousands and thousands of basketball shots. But really, I had no clue just how many I was taking or how many I was making and was I even improving? I was this sort of loner kid who would just go outside every single day and get rep after rep after rep. And that's sort of when I came up with the idea for some sort of system that could track basketball training, typically individual players in the driveway and on courts. And today we know it as Ball AI.
Awesome. I love that it's such a mental and physical thing, right? It's like happening in your body and in your mind at the same time. So I like the sort of nerdy and athleticness of the whole concept here. All right, tell me then what brought you into the ecosystem, how you got started with it, how you first came to hear about Innovate.
Yeah, so really what brought me into the entrepreneurship ecosystem was actually the first time that I watched The Social Network. I knew that I wanted to build an app and be in tech and software after I watched that movie and saw that story. So I started working on it in high school. And when I came to college at Ole Miss, I ran into the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. They've been super great to me there. They provided me office space, mentors, allowed me to pitch in competitions. And one of my good mentors, Owens Alexander, is actually who introduced me to Innovate Mississippi, to Tony and everybody on the team. I think the first experience I had with them was pitching in the Co-Builders Regional back in June in 2024, I believe. And at that competition, we were still really early on. We were still on the Apple Watch using the sensors in the watch to track basketball workouts, but we were still able to secure second place. And I think that's when we started to get into conversations about being part of the Co-Builders program.
And tell me how the Co-Builders program helped. And did it help you get to that pivot? And also tell me about the pivot.
Yeah, so the first year, actually, after the competition in 2024, we decided not to do the Co-Builders program just because we felt like we were so early on with our product. We were very early on in terms of development and team development. And so we took another year to keep building, keep growing. Throughout that year, we did several other competitions, went to the Rice Business Plan competition, the Arkansas Governor Cup, kind of discovered who we were as a team and as a product and as a mission. And then we came back in 2025 and we did the Co-Builders pitch again, which that's when we actually decided to go ahead and take part in the accelerator. And it helped a ton because what it really allowed me to do as we were raising our funding round is it obviously allowed me to continue to work on the business and the product and the company, but it also allowed me to continue to foster connections and build out our network of investors, which our network of investors for this pre-seed round was pretty much all Mississippi. And I think at the very heart of that was the Co-Builders program that allowed us to sort of get that fundraise kickstarted.
Any sort of inspiration you can give to people? I think founders get the most scared about capital and how to talk and how to pitch. And it seems like you've really locked that down over the past year. So any advice there that you could also give to founders, I think would be great input.
So I'd start by saying it's definitely not easy. It's not a walk in the park. It takes a lot of hard work and especially failure to be able to raise your first funding round and to get over the hump. We worked on it, the product and the business for 2 to 3 years before we were able to really get our first check from an investor. And what I'd say to founders who are watching this, build your product and do as much of your sweat equity as you can early on and do as much as you possibly can without taking on any money for many reasons. One, that shows investors that you can actually go and do the work yourselves and that you don't actually need their money to do the simple things like getting to market. But two, it also gives you a chance to be able to have a little bit more leverage when you're raising a funding round. Now we raised our funding round pretty market neutral, pretty neutrally, but at the same time, it was a lot easier to raise it for us further down the stretch because we had made all this progress with the product. We were getting all of this traction. We were doing all of this work on our own. And I think that's really what investors want to see is that, are you going to go the extra mile? Are you not going to quit when, stuff hits the fan?
That is great advice. Now tell me, how many times have you pitched?
Like millions. Like it's insane. So I remember I actually watched the video the other day because I was kind of just feeling super. I was just like reminiscing on it. I was looking at the video from high school. It was the first ever pitch I did as a high schooler at University of New Orleans, and I was awful. Like I stuttered hundreds of times. The Q&A was awful. And then fast forward to now, to today, I'm a junior here at Ole Miss. It's been 4 or 5 years. I've probably pitched in at least 50 business competitions. I've gotten in several boardrooms and done pitches there, not even counting all the practices we've done. And so, yeah, what I've seen over time as I've continued to pitch, it's really been what I've really gotten better at is like my flow. So I always tell people when they're pitching, like the number one thing you need to focus on is not necessarily what you're saying in a particular slide, but what you're saying when you're going from one slide to the next. And that's what people pick up on. And that's what people, when they're watching, think, oh, like this is a very sharp presentation.
Also, really great advice. So you pitched a million times, you've said. I know you also pitched at Rice, which is probably one of the largest pitch competitions, right? I know you took home second at Gillespie, and you just pitched again at State for the Startup Summit. Tell us about that.
So that was actually my CMO, Finnegan Farah. That was his first ever pitch. So we have a joke at the company. We're like, hey, every time it's your first pitch, you're gonna win. And the joke is still standing because everybody at the company who's ever done like their first pitch before has walked away with the grand prize at those respective competitions. So he's at Arizona State. He's a student there. We have been working together on Discord for about a year and a half now. Have never met in person. And so 2 weeks ago, actually today, 2 weeks ago, he flew into Memphis. I picked him up. We met in person for the first time. He got to experience Oxford for a little bit and then took an Uber down to Starkville, did that pitch there. I heard it went awesome. At the same time, I was pitching at the Gillespie. And he told me great things about the competition and said he had a great time and that he felt really good about the pitch. So I had no doubts, no doubts.
That's awesome. I love how, we're just seeing more and more, of course, how technology can bring us together and we don't have to be in one location. And what a great punchline for a joke to go home as a winner. Like,
It's like the beginner's luck, like when you're gambling. So
yeah, that's one you should definitely keep as a company motto for sure. Put that in the rules. So tell me who in the ecosystem has been super helpful for you and your teammates.
yeah, I mean, right off the bat, all thanks to Tony, Jeff, and April Dixon, as well as David Collins and everybody on that team that helped out with co-builders. I mean, they were a huge help just meeting with week in and week out. I was going through a battle all fall long, both with the business, but also personally. I was struggling. There was actually a time where back in maybe July or August that I wanted to quit. Like I had for the first time ever, I had like the urge to quit. And those people right there during co-builders they pushed me, they helped push me forward and keep me going. Another person to shout out would be like Victor Robinson. He helped out a lot with pitching to the seed fund and with even getting in front of the angel fund and with the whole Innovate process as well. And then lastly, I'd like to, shout out and give a huge thanks to Lindsay. Oh man, I might pronounce her. How do you pronounce her last name?
Benefit.
Benefield. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a huge shout out to Lindsay Benefield because I can't even quantify how much she helped us with the fundraise when it came to putting together our closing docs and getting in front of the Invest MS board. I'd also like to thank Will Cruz for helping us with our fundraising strategy. So really everybody across the board was such a huge help. And if I'm forgetting anybody, I'm completely sorry. But those were the people that I mostly worked with.
That's great. I think Innovate is such a great team, and Lindsay is definitely a rock star player, and everyone's always touting her. She's a force and very helpful, I feel like, in pulling things here into Mississippi. And I'm just curious, your thoughts on the ecosystem in Mississippi and how important it is. And since you've been out traveling the pitch circuit outside of Mississippi throughout the Southeast, what do you see in other ecosystems?
Oh, Amber, I could talk about this for like days. So this is can I backtrack a little bit to like my
Yeah.
upbringing? So in high school, I was a really smart kid, got a 35, 36 on the ACT. My dream was to go to like a Stanford or a Harvard or a Georgia Tech or a UT Austin. And it was when it came to my decision day, I was choosing between either Ole Miss, Purdue, or UT Austin. And I decided to go with Ole Miss because they offered me financial aid. Keep in mind, the whole time I knew I wanted to do this entrepreneurship thing. I wanted to build businesses and I wanted to compete in these competitions and I wanted to be a part of whatever state that I went to ecosystem. And so I was a little like suspense about it at first. Like I was like, okay, Mississippi, like here we go. And I got here and it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because from what I've seen traveling the country and going to all of these different competitions, especially the Rice Business Plan competition, is that in other ecosystems, it's very saturated. At a Ivy League school, every other student is building a startup. At a school like Ole Miss, you don't have as many kids building startups, but the ones that are building startups, they're going above and beyond. They're really grateful for the resources that they have and they're taking advantage of those resources. And for me, it's been a blessing, really, being in this environment because this is an environment that has resources, that has a team, that has a network and people to be able to work with. And if there's one thing that I could tell to a kid in high school that has dreams of building a business, don't go to an Ivy, go to like a state school in Mississippi, like Mississippi State and Ole Miss. You will have a much higher chance of success with building your business and selling it one day.
That's excellent. It is such a great community, and it's so helpful when you have so many people backing you and supporting you and wanting you to do well, not just for yourself, but also for each other and for the state. So that's lovely to hear. Tell us what is coming up for you. What's happening this year? What's going on? What's in the works for Ball AI?
Yeah, tons of things are in the works. We closed our funding round in March. I think I'm allowed to say we closed at around 408,000 with about a little bit more that we actually got accepted to the Google Startup Program. So we got another 100,000+ from them in credits for our software. And we've just hit the ground running. And the past 3 months alone, our acquisition, our sales, and our usage has doubled every single month. We brought on one of the biggest basketball trainers in California onto our team, Kyle Travis. He has over 1 million social media followers. He runs over 50 camps every single year and has 13,000+ clients that he trains. And so he's helped us really start to grow this product a ton over the past few months. And we've also just been landing some major partnerships with basketball trainers like Hunter Rhodes, who's really big in Illinois, Jay Taft, a all girls basketball group who's really big in Utah and in the Colorado area. We've also started to have discussions with some big time NBA trainers getting into the doors there. And we've just been seeing like our product pick up overall. We're up to 1,000 daily active users. Really just have been seeing tons of traction and launching new features. And yeah, really we're at the point now where we're building features based on what customers are telling us rather than what we're trying to guess. And because we have so many customers, we have thousands of users, weekly active users, daily active users. They're telling us what to build. They're loving the product and we just keep pumping out new things and we're seeing sales increase. And that's really what I've dreamed of this entire time.
That's so awesome. It's so great to meet people that have this idea in high school and they just work at it until they make it happen. So congratulations. I'm excited to see what comes next from you and your team. Tell people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me here in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm actually at Insight Park right now in one of my offices. I've got another one on Business Row at Ole Miss. I do most of my work in those two offices. I probably work a little bit more than I should. But yeah, you can also find me like around Oxford. I love running. I love going out to the town and just enjoying time with friends. Like this weekend's double decker, super excited for that. And you can also find me online. Like I'm all over social media on Instagram. I have a personal Julien R. Bourgeois on Instagram. We also have our company profile, balলাই.app on Instagram, as well as we're big on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. Like I said, I'm excited to watch it unfold more and to watch you grow.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Amber. Really appreciate it.